What's going on, guys? So, got some new traps. We're going to prep up some traps. So, I'm actually in the garage, and I apologize because the acoustics are probably horrible. But I'm going to show y'all how you can dye up your traps on the cheap. Because what we're going to use is red oak bark. Just bark from a red oak tree. I pulled this off some firewood that I've got busted up down at the bottom of the hill. So, this is our wax. I'll turn it on here in a little bit, let it start melting, and get it down where we'll wax them up. We've got a pot of water here, already got it starting to get hot, but just break up and throw just a few chunks of that red oak bark in your water. Just throw that one in there whole. And then let that water come to a boil. And once the water starts boiling and things start happening, I'll pick you back up. But you'll see what this red oak bark will do to your water, and then later on, we'll show you what it's going to do to your traps. Well, we've had our water on here now about 15 minutes, and it's cold. We got to get it up to a boil. But you can already see how that water is getting stained, the tannic acid coming out of that oak bark. And as it comes on up and reaches a good rolling boil, it will turn just black. And it makes a really good trap dye. So we're going to let her keep heating on up here, and we'll pick things up when we get ready to put some steel in the water. So something else I do before I get these in here to where we start dyeing them is when traps come in out of the box is I'll soak them in a bucket full of water and Dawn dishwashing liquid, get the machine grease off of them, throw them in a pot of clean water, boil them for about 30 minutes, and then I like to set them out in the yard. These have been outside for about a month, but you can see where they pick up some of that surface rust. The shock springs not so much, but even the earth anchors, they're picking up that rust and that oxidation, when it goes in with the water, they tend to take color a lot better where they've got some surface rust. My traps that have been used for a couple of seasons, 2 or 3 years old, every year when I go back and re-dye them using the red oak bark, they get darker every year. But that surface rust really helps them pick up the color. But our red oak tea over here is getting closer and closer. Now then, you can't even see the bottom of the pot. So hopefully we'll be up to a rolling boil here in just a few minutes. We'll get some traps in. Well, we're not even up to a really good rolling boil yet. And you can see how dark that water has gotten off of the bark. And I'll tell you a little secret. Bark off of a living tree works even better. Like I said, this came off of firewood. So a little bit of the sap, the tannic acid stuff that's in the bark has actually kind of cured out of it. But it's going to work for what I need to do. But we're starting to get some motion in the pot. So I think we're going to go ahead and get some traps in here. All right. I'm going to get these down in here. I'm going to put them in one at a time for this first run. My little old pot here is so small. If I'm careful of the way I put them in there, I can get 3 in there and get good coverage off of them. But it takes a little bit of creative maneuvering to make it happen. And I've got some of those bigger chunks of bark in there. Use my old hanger wires here so I don't get burnt. Let's see what I've got going here. There we go. Now then, get us one more. Well, I've got my wires hanging up in the channel. we go. Make myself just a little bit more room. There, and then I'll add just a little bit more water and get that one completely covered, and we will let those sit there and boil for about an hour. So these have been boiling now for about 20 minutes, but you can really see how dark that has gotten, because right there, I mean, you're talking, what, an inch? That's the top of another trap. That's the jaws right down there. And you can't even see down through the water now. So the tannic acid has really come out of our bark. We're doing good. I need to add a little bit more water and get it up over this base plate. But with that being on the bottom of the trap, and this one swivel and the D-ring, I don't worry about that too bad. Like I said, my pot is a little bit too small, so I do the best we can. But we're going to let them continue to boil here for about another half hour. And then we'll get them out and we'll take them over here to the wax. I just turned my wax pot off and use the same wax. But while we're here, we'll go ahead and talk about the wax. All I do is I go to the supermarket and I use just good old canning wax. That's what I use to make my wax dirt with. That's what I wax the traps with. The black residue you see down in there is where that bark, as it begins to degrade, as it's basically getting stewed, and then it comes over with the trap, drop it. So that's just 3 seasons worth of bark residue that's actually in the wax. But because it's bark, it doesn't stink. It's not anything that messes up the coats. But yeah, for wax, just good old-fashioned canning wax. You can get it at the local supermarket. So, like I said, about another 30 minutes here, and then we'll take them over here, and I'll show you how we finish them up. Well, we've been boiling for about an hour, so we're going to fish these guys out of here. And then let them cool for just a bit. Handle that. Nope, that middle is too hot. There we go. Hang these down here and let them dry for a minute or two before we take them to wax. Because one kind of a safety tip, you always hear about the turkey fryers and the frozen turkeys around Thanksgiving. Hot wax and water will react about the same way. So I always take mine out and give them a few minutes to dry. I'm actually going to use the other end of this one to go fishing with here, I think. See, that water has gotten so black down in there now from that red oak bark, I can't even see the jaws. There we go. Alright, and I'm going to be one wire short. That one took color really good. All right. but the heat from the metal evaporate the water off of it there. It has bent down and emptied out the ends of those Fox Hollow steaks. You'll catch water in the end of that right there, and then you go to put that in your hot wax, and then you're in a bind. So I'm gonna let one of these down. Get me another wire and go ahead and get this second round started boiling. The second round is always a little bit more aggravating because you can't see at all what is going on because your water just keeps getting darker and darker and darker. There's one in. There's another one in. Now this one will go in upside down. See if I can get that. There we go. Well, that's not exactly perfect, but it'll work. Shuffle them around, try to get them covered up as good as I can. And because we're constantly boiling, add a little bit more water right here, but that one there. There we go. Well, almost. There. Just can't see good enough. That's got everything covered except that one little corner of the base plate. So, for the wax, I'm going to have to, we'll make this work. Pull this guy right here up. Into that earth here. See, that one there's got some good color to it. Meld another block. Increase my coverage level here a little bit. But I like to leave the trap in the wax. And right here in just a minute, it'll actually start bubbling, particularly around the joints like the base plates or around the levers, anywhere there's like air spaces. It'll start bubbling almost like deep frying French fries or meat. And that's when I like to maybe turn them over and get that dog down in. But that frying action to me lets me know that that metal and the wax are now the same temperature, and when I pull them out, you'll get that good thin cover of wax on them. So we're going to let that one sit there just a minute or two, and we'll get some frying action going here in just a minute. Might actually need to turn the heat up on that just a dab. I just barely keep the heat on that wax to keep it melted while the traps are boiling. So we're going to let that one sit. I'll pick things up when it starts sizzling on us here. So there's the frying action I was talking about, and it's only been just a minute. I mean, literally maybe 60 seconds since we turned the camera off. And we've got our frying action, so I'll flip that one over, get the dog down in there, let it get a good coat, let it get good and hot, and then we'll drag this guy out. Well, there you go. Right there is a brand new, freshly dyed Duke 550. It was in the box coming from the company 6 weeks ago. And this one here is a number 2 Duke that I've had. I think this is going into its 3rd season, so it's been dyed 3 times using the red oak bark. And it's kind of dirty, but you can really see how much darker it has gotten over the time. But this one here was brand hammer new just a couple of weeks ago. It's the first time it's ever been soaked, so you can see what some red oak bark will do for you for trap dye, and it's cheap. Couple of seasons there, like I said, this is its 3rd season. I've not even set that one yet this year. It's just dirty where it's been in my bucket. And brand new. So when I run these things through the red oak bark again next year, this one here will be just as dark as that one. So that's how we do it using red oak bark. I hope y'all have enjoyed this and maybe gained a little bit of insight where you can save a buck or two. I know that trapping is expensive. The traps, the equipment, the stuff we have to use anywhere that I have found to cut a corner cost-wise, I have. So I hope this helped y'all out. If you've enjoyed this video, smash that like button down below for us. If you have any questions or additional comments, post them down below. I will get back to you, I promise. Give us a follow on this. We've moved everything over to Rumble now, so we're hoping that y'all are enjoying that. But we're going to finish up this next round we've got boiling here now and get ready to get them in the ground here in a day or two. But we will catch y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching.